he was on an upward path prior to Vince and Hunter switching chairs. Is Finn Balor and the Demon maybe the next phenom? You know what I mean? And that's a possibility.
Let's go traveling down memory lane, fellas. The Brood versus the Judgment Day. Wow. Can the two factions even be compared? We'll start with Vince. We'll go back to the Brood days as far as Vince, because that was a lot of your creation right there.
Well, bro, I'll tell you why they can't. And Chris, we do our show and you and I go over this a lot.
Yeah.
By the time they put Finn together and Damian together and Rhea together, they had beaten him to death.
Yep.
So when you saw the Brood, that was the debut for all of them. Yeah. So they were all virgin white, and they went from there. I think what really hurt these guys, the current form, is just the fact, bro, that they beat them to death before they brought them all together. So I think with that, they lose a little credibility. Bro, this was the first time we saw Christian, the first time we saw Edge, Gangrel right out of the chute. I don't know about you, Brian, but I think that's a huge difference booking-wise.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, look, I disagree a little bit with the beating. They have beat Finn Balor to death, that's for sure. But the other two, I feel like they've done pretty well with them since bringing them up from NXT. The positive to me is that Finn Balor can kind of reinvent himself. And I think people today, fans today, are a little fickle and go like, oh, he's in something cool again. I love him again now. Yeah. And so right, wrong, or indifferent, I think they judge on a curve. I like what we're doing with the Judgment Day, but I think that to Vince's point, man, the Brood was something so cool and so new and cutting edge that when we do something like this with the three current superstars, it's almost like copying it, and it always ends up in its shadow. You know what I mean? And so it's a hard act to follow with those three guys.
Brian, I want to ask you a question, because this is something I never understood, and that's why I love having you on this program. I told you I didn't watch NXT a lot, and I really told you more than anything it was the crowd that just turned me off. However, what I did see while I was watching that I thought was awesome was Balor as the Demon.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden we get to the WWE, and I was trying to make sense of why did they stop? Was the makeup and the production just too much? Like, do you know like why they didn't? I thought that would have been over huge.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I think one of the problems that arose is, can you beat the Demon? You know what I mean? Like, and could you get away with, oh man, the blow off, he brings back the Demon. And then can you always, so look, I think there's booking speed bumps in the Demon. If he's always the Demon, can he lose? I guess is a legitimate question. You know what I mean? And I guess he can if he's not supernatural, if he's, I guess Taker lost, but like it was horrible.
Yeah, bro, you can always beat somebody, Brian, when there's a story. See,
I agree with that.
Yeah. That's why lack of stories, I think, really hurt the business, because so many people are losing clean. Where if there's the good story, you have the story. You don't need that clean finish.
Yeah, and you have something to fall back on, whether you're a heel or a baby face. Right. I can use that as a crutch.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I like the Demon character. To me, the Demon character it was a story written in and of itself, because the Demon just didn't pop up randomly. The Demon was like, okay, well, look, I'm going to give you so much of this Finn Balor, and you're still, even if I beat you, you're attacking me. And then there's, weeks after weeks of development here. Okay, well, now you've released the part of me that, I can only have a certain amount of times, and so so to me, it just makes sense as far as only doing a random thing, only doing a infrequent, appearances for him. I think the last time was a couple of years, about a year or so ago, a year and a half ago. I think he went. I think he was a demon when he went against Reigns for the title. When he was feuding against Reigns, I think he.
Oh yeah.
I think he was the demon. He came back to the demon for that.
You
He
make him
lost.
so irate that you summon the demon.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you told that story and made me suspend my disbelief a little bit, like, oh my God, does he turn in? We all have inner demons, right?
Yeah.
So do you tell that story and touch on stuff like that? And you don't want to, and it's the whole, you won't like me when I'm angry.
Yeah,
Right.
and not
You know
only
what I
that,
mean?
Brian, and think about it. If you don't like me when I'm angry, and I am the demon, and now this fury comes out, he doesn't care about 1, 2, 3 in somebody.
Right.
So you could DQ him. I mean, he wants to hurt somebody.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could make that work. It wouldn't be easy. Don't get me wrong, but I think you could make that work.
I agree. And look, I think he was on an upward path prior to Vince and Hunter switching chairs. So I'm wondering how far we can go. And is Finn Balor and the Demon maybe the next phenom? You know what I mean? And that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense to me just from again, I always say that pro wrestling characters or pro wrestling period is comic book come to life. I mean, that's the best way to describe your pro wrestling. And to me, it's like a Bruce Banner Incredible Hulk type of transformation. You know what I mean? Like Bruce Banner's, he's someone who's super smart, super intelligent, could really make some impact. But I mean, come on now. If I'm so mad that I'm the Incredible Hulk now. Like, you're making me angry.
It's also
okay.
like Finn Balor wouldn't be held responsible.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting twists you could tell in that story.
It really is. And to me, as far as the Judgment Day is concerned right now, they just seem so flat because they're not being booked to feel big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's lots of 50-50 going on. Vince?
Yeah, Brian, I always felt this, and tell me what you think. Bro, when Ed Ferrara and I were writing the TV, like, bro, it was 2 guys. That's it. And we brought it to Vince. Yeah. That was it. When we talk about, like, what you're talking about with Finn Balor is really like an intricate storyline.
Yeah.
When we talk about Bray Wyatt, these are intricate storylines. I kind of got the feeling, Brian, when there are a lot of people involved creatively, those intricate storylines are very, very difficult to do because so much is involved in it and you've got to really think everything through. But then if you got to pass it by this one and that one and there's a tweak here, is there any weight to what I just said, Brian?
Yeah, look, I think there was, and I don't think that's there anymore. Okay. And I'm just being as plain as I can be. Like, I think we'll start to see storylines, and I think we've already started to see them a little more intricate and specific and sometimes the intricacy. I get hung up on that all the time. Got boring, and so we would just change course in midstream. And I don't think you're going to see that problem anymore. I just don't.
Yeah.